Have you ever wondered why certain people or situations have the power to instantly ignite anger inside you, almost as if they hold a remote control to your emotions? That burning feeling rises without warning, and before you even realize it, words spill out, actions are taken, and your peace is shattered. In those moments, it feels like you've lost control, like someone else is pulling the strings of your mind. Yet deep down, you know that every time anger takes over, you pay the price, not them. Anger drains your energy, shortens your patience, clouds your judgment, and leaves you carrying weight that does not belong to you. The truth is, anger is not just a passing emotion. It is a thief that steals your clarity, your happiness, and even your health. And unless you learn how to master it, it will keep holding you hostage. Imagine for a moment the freedom of never being angry at anyone again. Think about what it would feel like to walk through life untouchable, no matter what people say, no matter what they do. Instead of being shaken, you stand grounded, calm, and unbothered. Instead of snapping or holding grudges, you move forward with confidence and power. That kind of inner mastery is not a dream reserved for saints or monks. It is possible for you. It is possible right now. And the moment you understand the truth about anger, where it really comes from and how to dissolve it, you unlock a life that feels lighter, stronger, and infinitely more peaceful. You see, most people think anger is normal, that it's just a part of being human. But what's common is not always healthy. Anger may feel justified in the moment, but it poisons the one who carries it. Science has shown that every time you let anger consume you, your body is flooded with stress hormones that weaken your immune system, strain your heart, and shorten your life. The world convinces you that expressing anger is strength, that it makes you powerful. But the reality is the opposite. Anger reveals way, because it shows someone else has power over your inner world. Real strength is remaining calm when others try to provoke you. Real strength is refusing to hand your peace to anyone. And here's the most powerful truth you will ever hear about anger. It is not caused by others. It is created by you. No one can make you angry without your permission. They can provoke, insult, or disrespect you, but it is your mind that decides how to interpret their actions. The instant you take back this control, everything changes. You no longer live as a prisoner of people's words or behavior. You rise above. You become untouchable. Stay with me, because in the next few moments you will learn the shift that frees you forever. Do this, and you will never be angry at anyone again. If anger is not truly created by others, then why does it feel so real when someone offends you, disrespects you, or betrays your trust? The answer lies in the way your mind interprets their actions. You react not to what they did, but to what you believe it means. Every time someone cuts you off, criticizes you, or ignores you, your brain instantly attaches meaning to the event. It says, "Money disrespected me, they don't value me, they are trying to hurt me." And once that meaning takes hold, anger erupts. But here is the truth most people never see. Those interpretations are not facts. They are stories created by your own perception, shaped by past wounds, insecurities, and expectations. You expect people to treat you a certain way. You expect fairness, kindness, and respect. And when reality doesn't match your expectations, you feel wronged. That gap between what you think should happen and what actually happens is where anger is born. The problem is not their behavior, it is your attachment to how you believe they should behave. This is why the same action can infuriate one person and barely bother another. It's not the act, it's the meaning we give to it. The moment you see this clearly, why? Realize something powerful. If your perception creates anger, then you have the ability to end it. Think about how liberating that is. It means you are no longer a slave to the moods, mistakes, or choices of others. You do not have to hand over your emotional stability to strangers, friends, or even family. You hold the key. Anger has only ever been a reflection of your own inner state, never truly a reflection of them. The insults and disrespect of others are empty sounds until you choose to take them personally. Their actions are powerless until you decide to give them power. Now imagine shifting your perspective every time someone tries to provoke you. Instead of thinking, "They're attacking me," you think, "This reveals more about them than it ever could about me." Instead of feeling wounded, you feel detached, like an observer watching a storm from a safe distance. You stop asking, "Why are they doing this to me?" and start realizing, "This is who they are, not who I am." The freedom that comes from this shift is life-changing. You don't just avoid anger, you rise above it. This is the turning point most people never reach. They keep fighting battles in their minds, trying to control people, trying to demand fairness from a world that was never built to be fair. But once you stop expecting life to follow your script, no one can disturb you. Your peace no longer depends on their behavior. It depends only on your perception, and perception is something you always control. That is the doorway to emotional freedom. When you begin to see that your perception shapes your anger, another layer of truth reveals itself. Most of your frustration is born from a desperate attempt to control what you were never meant to control. You want people to act according to your standards. You want them to respect, appreciate, and value you in the exact way you imagine. And when they don't, you feel cheated, as though life has betrayed you. But the real betrayal is not theirs. It is the illusion you created. The illusion that others exist to fulfill your expectations. This illusion chains you, because it convinces you that your peace depends on their cooperation. Yet no matter how hard you try, you cannot bend the will of another person. Think of the exhaustion that comes from constantly fighting against reality. You demand that people be honest, but some will lie. You demand loyalty, but some will betray. You demand kindness, but some will be cruel. The world will not rearrange itself to meet your preferences, no matter how justified they feel. And the more you cling to the fantasy of control, the angrier you will become when life proves you wrong. The irony is that the moment you let go of this grip, the chains around your heart fall away. Freedom does not come from controlling others. It comes from mastering yourself. This realization is not weakness. It is power. Because when you no longer insist that people must treat you a certain way, you are no longer are shaken when they don't. You stop living like a puppet whose strings are pulled by every careless word or unfair action. Instead, you live grounded, anchored, untouchable. The person who does not depend on others for peace cannot be manipulated, insulted, or provoked. They become unshakable in a world of constant storms. Ask yourself honestly, how much of your life has been wasted in arguments, grudges, and silent anger, simply because you wanted control over what was never yours? Every minute spent in that prison is a minute stolen from your growth, your joy, your higher purpose. Anger blinds you from your potential by making you fight battles that don't matter. But once you surrender the illusion of control, you gain a clarity that changes everything. You see that life is not happening against you, it is simply happening. And your task is not to control it, but to rise above it. Letting go of control does not mean letting people walk over you. It means recognizing that their behavior belongs to them, not to you. It means reclaiming the energy you once wasted on resentment and redirecting it toward your strength, your vision, your future. The day you accept that no one owes you the script you wrote in your head is the day anger loses its grip on your soul. That is the moment you become free. Once you free yourself from the illusion of control, you begin to see the real enemy that has been fueling your anger all along. It is not the world outside you, but the voice inside you, the ego. The ego is that fragile part of you that constantly demands recognition, respect, and validation. It whispers that you are entitled to admiration, that people must treat you in ways that confirm your worth, and that any failure to do so is an attack. This is why a single insult can cut deeper than 1,000 compliments can heal. It is not the insult itself, but the ego's desperate need to defend its image. As long as the ego rules, anger will always be close at hand. The ego 3 is on offense. It interprets disagreement as disrespect and correction as humiliation. It cannot tolerate being overlooked, ignored, or dismissed. And so, the ego reacts with anger, hoping to protect its fragile identity. But what it actually does is reveal weakness. Because the truth is, no one can damage who you really are. They can only damage the version of yourself that your ego has built, a mask that is easily cracked. The more you cling to that mask, the more power others have over you. Now imagine what happens when you let go of that false self, when you stop needing every word, every action, every glance to affirm your worth. Insults lose their sting. Disrespect rolls off you like rain off stone. The ego may scream for attention, but your true self stays calm, steady, and secure. Anger no longer has a reason to exist because there is nothing left to defend. This is the kind of power that few people ever discover. The moment you stop living through the ego, you stop living in reaction. Ask yourself this: what would truly happen if someone disrespected you and you didn't care? What if you no longer needed their approval, their recognition, or their validation? You would walk through life untouchable. Their words would echo but never land. Their attempts to provoke would collapse under their own emptiness. That is the freedom that comes when you silence the ego. And here lies the greatest strength of all, humility. Humility is not weakness. It is the unshakable confidence that does not need to prove itself. When you know your worth at the deepest level, anger becomes unnecessary. The ego fights to protect an image, but the soul has nothing to prove. The moment you choose soul over ego, peace replaces anger, calm replaces chaos, and strength replaces fragility. That choice is always available to you, and when you make it, you step into a life where no one can make you angry again. When the grip of ego begins to loosen, something remarkable becomes clear. The world is not attacking you, it is simply reflecting itself. Every harsh word, every unfair act, every careless insult is not about you, it is about the state of the one who delivers it. Yet your mind has been conditioned to believe otherwise. It takes every action personally, as if the universe revolves around your image and your feelings. But the truth is simpler and far more liberating. Most of what people say and do has nothing to do with you. It is a mirror of their own pain, fears, and limitations. Once you recognize this, you unlock the ability to reframe reality itself. Reframing is the power to choose a new meaning in every situation. It is the decision to say, "Sis behavior reveals them, not me." When someone lashes out, you no longer see an attack. You see a wound expressing itself. When someone dismisses you, you no longer feel unworthy. You see their inability to value what they don't understand. This shift in perspective dismantles anger because it takes away its foundation. Anger feeds on the story that you have been wronged, that you are under attack. But when you strip away that story and see the act as a reflection of them, not a definition of you, there is nothing left for anger to cling to. The power of reframing is not just emotional, it is deeply psychological. Research has shown that the mind can be trained to change its automatic reactions through cognitive reappraisal. This is the ability to reinterpret an event in a way that changes its emotional impact. And the beauty of this truth is that it means you are never powerless. You always hold the authority to decide what something means to you. No one else owns that power unless you hand it over. Imagine the strength of living in this state daily. You walk through the world with unshakable calm. Insults are reduced to noise, criticism becomes feedback you can use or discard, and rejection transforms into redirection. Nothing penetrates your peace because you refuse to give away the meaning of your experiences. This is not denial, it is mastery. It is the deliberate choice to guard your inner world from chaos by controlling the lens through which you see reality. Ask yourself, what would your life look like if nothing could make you angry again? Not because the world became perfect, but because you mastered the way you interpret it. That is the reward waiting for you when you embrace reframing. You become untouchable not by changing the world, but by changing the way you see it. And once you choose that path, anger no longer has a place to live within you. The moment you understand that meaning is in your control, you also realize the power of silence. Silence is not just the absence of words, it is the presence of mastery. When anger arises, silence becomes a shield that protects you from saying what you will regret, from reacting in ways that damage your dignity, and from giving others the satisfaction of controlling your state of mind. Most people believe silence is weakness, but in truth, it is the highest form of strength. It is proof that you are no longer a prisoner of impulse, no longer enslaved by the need to prove, defend, or retaliate. Silence disarms conflict in a way anger never can. Words spoken in rage ignite fire, but silence extinguishes it. It removes fuel from the flame and leaves the other person wrestling with their own energy. When you remain calm and quiet in the face of provocation, you create a gap between their chaos and your response. In that gap lies your freedom. That pause, that breath, that deliberate choice not to lash out is what rewires your brain and breaks the cycle of reactivity. It is in silence that your nervous system resets, that your clarity returns, that your strength is renewed. Think of how powerful it feels to walk away from conflict without carrying it inside you. Silence is not retreat, It is victory. It is the declaration that your peace is not for sale, that your inner calm cannot be stolen by reckless words or thoughtless actions. Every time you choose silence over anger, you reinforce a new identity, the identity of someone who cannot be provoked. Over time, this identity becomes your nature. Calmness replaces rage, patience replaces impulsiveness, and control replaces chaos. This practice does more than protect you in the moment, it transforms you at the deepest level. It teaches your mind that not everything requires a reaction. It proves to your soul that you are greater than your emotions. And once you experience the strength of silence, you never want to go back to the weakness of outbursts. Because anger feels powerful in the moment, but it always leaves you drained. Silence feels restrained at first, but it always leaves you stronger. Ask yourself what it would mean to live with that kind of mastery, to walk into every situation knowing that no one has the power to pull you out of alignment, to carry silence not as avoidance but as wisdom, to stand so deeply rooted in your own calm that the storms of others pass right through you without leaving a mark. That is the strength silence offers. And when you embrace it fully, you will find that anger has no place left to live within you. Silence is the doorway, but detachment is the foundation that keeps you free. Detachment does not mean you stop caring or that you close your heart. It means you stop giving others the power to control your emotional world. It is the art of observing without absorbing, of noticing without clinging, of hearing without being shaken. When you are detached, criticism does not pierce you, rejection does not destroy you, and betrayal does not define you. You may feel the sting for a moment, but it does not linger because you do not tie your worth to it. You know that your value does not rise and fall based on someone else's perception. Detachment is strength disguised as calm. It is the refusal to let external chaos dictate your inner state. Imagine walking through a storm, but remaining dry because you have chosen not to step into the rain. That is detachment. People may try to provoke, manipulate, or disrespect you, but you do not step into their storm. You watch, you understand, and you remain steady. This is not coldness, it is wisdom. Because when you stop attaching your peace to the actions of others, you discover a stability that nothing can shake. The mind wants to hold on. It wants to cling to approval, outcomes, and expectations. It says, I will be happy when they treat me right. I will be calm when they finally change. But that thinking is a trap. It puts your peace in the hands of people who may never give you what you want. Detachment breaks the trap by bringing the focus back to where it belongs, within you. You cannot control how others think or act, but you can always control whether you let it disturb you. And when you practice that control consistently, anger no longer finds room in your heart. Ask yourself how much lighter your life would feel if you stopped carrying the weight of every offense. Think of the freedom of not being haunted by someone's words hours or even days after they were spoken. That is the gift of detachment. It dissolves grudges, erases bitterness, and restores energy that was once wasted on resentment. You begin to realize that not everything deserves a reaction. Not everyone deserves your energy, and not every situation deserves your peace. This is where your true power begins to emerge. Because when you are detached, people lose their ability to control you. They cannot use anger as a weapon against you. They cannot pull you into their drama. They may try to shake you, but they will always fail because you are no longer tied to their behavior. Detachment is not weakness. It is the deepest form of strength. It makes you untouchable in a world that thrives on reaction. And once you embody it, you carry peace that nothing outside you can ever break. Detachment opens the doorway to an EVY. In higher practice, the ability to replace anger with understanding. Every act of cruelty, every insult, every betrayal springs from a place of inner turmoil. People lash out not because they are strong, but because they are hurting. They project their wounds onto the world, hoping to ease their pain by transferring it to others. When you begin to see this clearly, you stop taking their actions personally. You realize their behavior is not a reflection of your worth, but a reflection of their struggle. This perspective transforms how you respond. Instead of reacting with anger, you respond with clarity. Instead of seeking revenge, you choose to see deeper. Anger thrives on the belief that others are enemies. But understanding dissolves that illusion. It teaches you that people are often blind to the damage they cause, caught in cycles of fear, insecurity, and pain. When you see them this way, your heart softens, not because you excuse their behavior, but because you recognize it for what it is: weakness disguised as aggression. This shift does not make you passive, it makes you powerful, because while they remain trapped in patterns of pain, you rise above by choosing not to mirror their darkness. Compassion becomes your shield. It is not pity, nor is it tolerance of abuse. It is the deep recognition that everyone is fighting battles you cannot see. When you embrace this truth, insults lose their edge because you see the wounded soul behind the sharp words. Rejection does not crush you because you see the fear behind it. Betrayal does not harden you because you understand the insecurity driving it. This perspective does not weaken your resolve, it strengthens it. It allows you to protect yourself without poisoning yourself with hatred. Ask yourself what it would mean to stand in front of someone trying to provoke you and feel no anger, only understanding. Imagine how untouchable you become when you see past their attack and recognize the pain that created it. At moment, you no longer react, you rise. You move from victim to master, from reactor to creator. Their darkness no longer pulls you down, your light pulls you higher. This is not easy, but it is the essence of true freedom. Understanding replaces anger with wisdom. It removes the poison without denying the reality of the wound. It allows you to hold boundaries with strength while keeping your soul free from bitterness. This balance is rare, but it is possible. And once you choose it, you discover that peace is not just the absence of conflict. It is the presence of clarity. The world may never change, but your perception of it can. And with that shift, anger loses its last grip on your heart. When you free yourself from anger, you begin to step into a higher state of personal power, where self-control becomes your greatest weapon. Self-control is not about suppressing emotions or pretending they do not exist. It is about mastering them, channeling them, and using them in a way that serves your growth instead of your destruction. The person who can govern their emotions commands authority over their life. No one can shake them, no one can manipulate them, and no one can pull them into chaos. That is the kind of strength that cannot be faked, because it is born from within. Every time you hold back from reacting, you are not being weak. You are training your spirit to become unshakable. You are building an inner fortress that no insult, no rejection, no betrayal can penetrate. The world may try to provoke you, but self-control allows you to decide what deserves your energy and what does not. That power to choose is the very essence of freedom. Without self-control, you are a prisoner of impulse. With it, you are the master of your destiny. The truth is that anger wants to rush you into decisions you will regret. It wants to push you into battles that drain your strength and steal your peace. But self-control interrupts that cycle. It whispers that silence can be louder than shouting, that walking away can be stronger than fighting, and that discipline always outlasts chaos. Every choice you make in control of yourself expands your power, while every reaction given in anger shrinks it. The one who is ruled by their emotions is easy to predict, easy to provoke, and easy to control. But the one who rules their emotions becomes untouchable. They cannot be baited into arguments. They cannot be distracted by pettiness. They cannot be trapped in cycles of destruction. They rise above with a calmness that confuses their enemies and inspires those who witness it. That calmness is not weakness, it is supreme strength. The kind of strength that comes from knowing your value cannot be reduced by someone else's behavior. Self-control is not about denying passion or living without intensity. It is about aligning your energy with what truly matters. Instead of scattering your fire in meaningless conflicts, you direct it toward building the life you deserve. You save your words for those who listen, your energy for what creates growth, and your time for what brings peace. That discipline transforms your life in ways that anger never could. The more you master yourself, the less the world can disturb you. The noise around you loses its power because your inner silence becomes louder. The storms outside do not dictate the calm inside. And once you realize that your strength lies not in controlling others but in controlling yourself, you unlock a level of freedom and peace that no one can take away. True strength is revealed not in how loud you can be, but in how deeply you can remain centered when everything around you is designed to pull you away from yourself. The world thrives on distraction, and most people lose themselves in the noise. But when you choose discipline over reaction, you separate yourself from the masses. You become rare. You become powerful. You begin to live from a place of intentionality where every word you speak and every move you make carries weight because it is born from clarity, not chaos. That clarity radiates authority, and authority that comes from within can never be stolen. The more you practice restraint, the more you realize that silence carries its own language. It communicates control, it demonstrates confidence, and it exposes those who lack both. People who seek to provoke you expect you to fight, but when you refuse, you strip them of their power. Your calmness becomes a mirror that forces them to face their own weakness, and in that moment, you are reminded that composure is not just about peace, it is about dominance without destruction. It is the art of winning battles without having to fight them. Every time you choose not to react, you rise higher above those who are ruled by their impulses. It may feel heavy at first, because silence requires patience, and patience requires strength. But each time you hold yourself back from unnecessary conflict, you are building a deeper foundation of resilience. That resilience creates stability, and stability creates the kind of life where your energy is not wasted on trivial things but preserved for what truly shapes your future. There is nothing more intimidating than a person who cannot be shaken. The one who cannot be provoked holds the greatest advantage because they cannot be controlled by others. Their calmness unsettles those who seek to dominate them, because control cannot exist where reaction does not exist. By refusing to be pulled into meaningless battles, you keep your energy sharp, your focus intact, and your mind clear. And that clarity allows you to make decisions that create progress instead of regrets. You must understand that peace is not the absence of storms, but the ability to remain calm in the middle of them. Anyone can be peaceful when life is quiet. Few can remain unshaken when life gets loud. That is where true mastery begins, when you refuse to let circumstances dictate your emotions. Why? Our emotions belong to you. Your reactions belong to you. And the moment you decide to guard them, no one else can own them. The highest form of strength is self-mastery. When you master yourself, the world loses its grip on you. Your value no longer depends on approval, your mood no longer depends on circumstance, and your spirit no longer bends under pressure. You rise above, untouchable, unstoppable, unbroken. The ability to remain calm in the face of conflict is not weakness. It is the ultimate display of strength. Anyone can explode when provoked, but it takes true power to stay still, to hold your ground without letting anger dictate your choices. When you rise above reaction, you stop being a slave to the emotions of others. You stop giving strangers the authority to shape your day, your mood, or your future. That is the highest level of freedom, to own yourself so completely that no one else can decide how you feel. This freedom is what separates those who live in chaos from those who walk in peace. The truth is that anger is borrowed energy. It belongs to the one who triggered it, not to you. When you take that anger on, you carry weight that was never yours to begin with. But when you reject it, when you refuse to allow their negativity to invade your inner world, you remain light, focused, and untouchable. This choice may not silence the noise around you, but it will silence the war within you. And once the war within is won, no external force can defeat you. Your calmness is not just a shield, it is a weapon. It protects your mind from corruption, and it weakens the grip of anyone trying to manipulate you. The louder someone tries to shake you, the more powerful your silence becomes. That silence sends a message louder than any words could ever speak. You are in control, you are unbothered, and you cannot be moved. Such strength is magnetic because it is rare. People are drawn to those who hold themselves with unshakable poise because it reflects a mastery they secretly wish they had. When you stop reacting, something incredible happens. You begin to see situations with clarity instead of distortion. Anger clouds the mind, but calmness sharpens it. In the stillness of your patience, solutions reveal themselves, opportunities become visible, and decisions become wiser. The moments where others lose themselves are the very moments where you find yourself. And in that discovery, you rise far above the level of those who are still drowning in their emotions. Imagine living each day with that kind of command over yourself, where no insult penetrates, no conflict consumes, and no negativity sticks to you. Every step you take is lighter because you are no longer burdened by the weight of unnecessary battles. That is not just emotional strength, it is spiritual power. It elevates you beyond the reach of petty distractions and places you in alignment with peace, progress, and purpose. To master your reactions is to master your life. The O. He who can walk through fire without burning, through storms without breaking, is the one who truly owns themselves. And when you own yourself, you can never be owned by anyone else. Peace is not something you find outside of yourself, it is something you create within, and the more you guard it, the stronger it becomes. Every person who tries to provoke you is simply a test of how much control you truly have. They are not obstacles, they are mirrors reflecting back the areas where you still give away your power. When you stop reacting, you are no longer a prisoner of their energy. You rise above the noise and step into a level of freedom most people will never experience. That freedom is priceless because it gives you the ability to shape your life on your own terms, not on the terms of those who wish to drag you into their chaos. Anger steals time. It takes your focus, it drains your energy, and it blinds you to what really matters. But when you refuse to hand over your emotions, you keep your time, you keep your energy, and you keep your clarity. That clarity allows you to channel your strength into growth, progress, and achievement. You stop wasting hours replaying arguments in your head, and you start investing those hours into building a life that reflects your true worth. Every time you choose calmness, you are not just avoiding conflict. You are building a stronger, sharper, more powerful version of yourself. The greatest advantage of self-control is that it puts you ahead of those who cannot control themselves. When others are burning energy on anger, you are storing energy for victory. When others are distracted by noise, you are focused on your vision. When others are drowning in resentment, you are rising in clarity. This is why restraint is never weakness. It is the hidden strategy of the strongest minds. They understand that emotions are fuel, and only a fool burns fuel on things that do not move them forward. To live in this way requires a shift in perspective. You must see every attack as an opportunity, every insult as training, every test as preparation. Instead of reacting, you observe. Instead of engaging, you rise. This shift transforms how you experience life because nothing external can dictate your internal state anymore. You are no longer waiting for people to behave differently so you can feel peace. You become peace itself. That is the essence of true strength, to carry your calmness wherever you go, no matter what surrounds you. The world may not change, but you will. And when you change, your experience of the world changes with you. Where others see offense, you see lessons. Where others see conflict, you see chances to grow stronger. And in every moment where you choose silence over reaction, you prove to yourself that you are no longer controlled by anger. You are controlled by vision. Every time you rise above anger, you reclaim a piece of yourself that would otherwise be lost. You take back your strength, our focus, and your dignity. You refuse to let someone else's behavior dictate the quality of your inner world. This is how true power is built. Not in dominating others, but in mastering the one person you will live with for the rest of your life, yourself. Self-mastery is the highest form of freedom because it removes the chains that tie you to the reactions of others. The more you practice it, the lighter you feel, and the more unshakable you become. Anger is an invitation to chaos, but you are under no obligation to accept it. The moment you step back and breathe, you remind yourself that not every battle is worth your energy. Your silence is not surrender, it is strategy. It allows you to step out of the trap that others set when they provoke you. They want to pull you into a fight because they cannot fight their own emptiness. But when you decline the invitation, they are left alone with themselves. And in that choice, you win without even raising your voice. Every second you hold, your calm is a victory. It may feel small, but those victories add up. They shape your character. They sharpen your mind and they strengthen your spirit. The one who can remain calm when others lose control is the one who becomes the pillar others lean on. Calmness is magnetic. It draws respect because it is rare. People will trust you more, follow you more, and admire you more when they see that nothing can pull you off balance. This is how leaders are born, not from loudness, but from stillness. There is nothing more exhausting than carrying anger. It poisons your thoughts, it weighs down your heart, and it steals your peace long after the moment has passed. But when you let it go before it even takes root, you keep yourself free. You walk away lighter. You protect your spirit from the corrosion of bitterness. This is why refusing anger is not just an act of strength. It is an act of self-love. You owe it to yourself to protect your peace more than you owe it to anyone else to prove your point. The world will test you. People will provoke you. Circumstances will challenge you. But none of these forces have real power unless you give them power through your reaction. The moment you